Hey there, I'm Emily, and in this video, I was going to say project, but it's not actually a project, it's a video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the projects that I work on in kind of like the knitting, crochet, yarny side of things in March. So, today is March 1st, and I am currently working on a pair of socks. The big thing for this month is going to be Sock Madness, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's a speed sock knitting competition, which is done in the Sock Madness group on Ravelry. And I have been working on this pair of socks. This pair of socks have honestly been on the needles for over a year. I restarted them at the beginning of this year because I needed to put them on a different needle size. So they've been going on since like January, and I still haven't finished them. And these are the needles that I tend to knit socks fastest on, so I want to have them available for Sock Madness. And technically Sock Madness starts, well, it's usually on March 1st they send out a test email and make sure that everyone can get their emails before they send out an email with the pattern. So technically Sock Madness hasn't started and I've still got time to finish these, but I'm kind of like, oh, I wish I'd gotten these done in February. Anyway, this pattern is the slide socks designed by Cookie A. This is just a picture that I have of the finished socks on someone's feet. And these are the socks that I'm working on. I am doing them in Cascade Yarns Heritage Sock Yarn, color 5565. I hate it when companies do that. Like, at least call it like teal. I don't know. Anyway, so I was working on these socks in tandem, so do both cuffs and then both legs and then both heels. It just makes it easier for me to keep track of where I am if I'm doing the same. Well, it makes it easier for me to remember any modifications I make if I do them both in the same time. Not that I actually made any modifications, but anyway. So this sock is done up to Kitchenering the toes. I'm just waiting to do that until I have both socks done because I might as well do them at the same time. Only get out of our needle once. All that jazz. This sock is done, like, I think I have like 1 or 2 rows before I start the toe, so it's almost done. Yeah, I think I have like 2 rows before I start the toe. So it's almost done. I'm going to finish it today, and it won't be a big deal. I won't be running out of time before Sock Madness, but I am looking forward to having this guy off the needles finally and wearing them, because I tried on the other one once I had it, the toe in, and it's super squishy, super comfy. I really, really like it. Super looking forward to having this thing done, especially since I started it. I don't even remember when I started it. It's well over a year, and that's a little bit ridiculous. So I am looking forward to that. So I am going to go now, and I will update you when I get those done, and when the first pattern for Sock Madness comes out, and what I'm doing with that, and all that jazz. Look what I got done! Also, can we just discuss for a second how difficult it is to photograph your own feet? Man, that's hard. So pardon the weird angle. Anyway, it is March 2nd, and I finally got the slide socks done. Toes are Kitchenered, ends are woven in, everything is ready to go, and you're seeing them on feet because they are super comfy and I am not taking them off. Overall, I liked the pattern. If you can tell here, this is like 1x3 ribbing, so I did not love how much purling was in these socks, but besides that, I really like the way they look, I really like the way they feel. The construction on the foot was quite interesting, because normally when you do a heel flap and gusset, you're going to decrease the excess stitches away on both sides, but with this sock, you only decrease on one side, which forces the whole set of stitches to kind of move this way. So that was really interesting. As a consequence, I'm noticing both on my socks and on the photographs by the designer, this toe decrease tends to ride up, and this one tends to ride under your foot. It's not uncomfortable. I was a little bit weirded out by it in the pictures, but it's not uncomfortable at all, so it works out quite well. And I'm done with them. And I kind of technically am still in time for the Sock Madness because they haven't sent the pattern out yet. They sent out the test email, but no pattern, so I'm in good shape. I have a slight problem though. So I've got a little bit of sock yarn left, and you may remember, if you've been here for a long time, because I haven't worked on this in a while, this is my mitered square blanket that I'm making out of fingering weight sock yarn, very small little squares. It's actually a very similar construction to the Hue Shift Afghan, which I've shown you in very recent videos, but this one's just smaller and done at a slightly different angle. but the general idea is very similar. So anyway, I'm doing this out of random scraps, some of which are scraps that I've done, some of which are, well, scraps from things that I've made, some of which are scraps that I found at like thrift stores, a little ball of something that someone was selling that they were selling really cheap. So anyway, I've got that, and I have this to add to it, but the problem is I have a jar that I put everything that's going to go into that blanket, and it's a little bit full. A lot of this is scraps that are left over from when I was test dyeing yarn for the yarn that I sell. So testing colors, testing colorways. I think you can see, like, this is a ball of the yellow pansy. This is a ball of, what's that called? Piano key. So I've got some little balls of the actual colors that are left over from when I did my little swatches. And then I've got some of these that are just these little kind of bits are just when I was testing different colors and testing combinations of dye colors. So, I'm not sure how I'm going to fit that in there. So I think I need to get working on that scrap blanket again. I should probably work on that until I get the Sock Madness pattern, actually. I had been thinking that I was going to pull out one of my other projects to work on, but I think I need to pull out that project. It's in a different spot than my other ones because it's with the scraps, so I kind of sometimes tend to forget about it. So anyway, we'll see, and if I show you in the future, if I show you in this video, let me try that again. If I make progress on it, I will show you later in this video. So you'll get to see quite soon. I'm like really trailing off weirdly, so I'm gonna just end this and then go try taking photographs of my feet again and hopefully get a better angle for my project page photos. I should just go. Hey there, so it is March 5th, and the Sock Madness pattern actually came out on the 3rd. I was going to get on then and show you kind of like what yarn I picked and before I cast on. However, it ended up being pretty late by the time I actually cast on, and then yesterday I was kind of thinking that the sock might not fit and I might have to restart, so I was kind of like, and so now it's today. And so this pattern is a little hard to see on this yarn, unfortunately. I was hoping it would be clearer than it is. But it's called Smock Madness because it uses all of these little smocked stitches, and when the yarn stretches, you can see, like right in here, focus on this, not my face, please. There we go. So you can see there's this ribbed section, and the little rib bits are like getting pulled together by these smocking stitches. So, Smock Madness, the qualifying pattern for Sock Madness. It's pretty cute. Anyway, I am using one of my own yarns. This is in my merino sock base in the Bent Skipper colorway. Part of the butterfly collection. Sorry, I was dropping things. Now I dropped the sock. Anyway, I am knitting this pattern on a 9-inch US size 1.5 circular. I don't remember what the millimeter size is, unfortunately. I decided to do it on this because I thought with the whole smocking thing, it would be easier to do it just on a short diameter, and my gauge on a 1.5 is exactly the gauge called for in the pattern, like exactly row gauge and everything. It was perfect. So I did that, and I was concerned that this was going to be, I'm knitting the largest size, I was concerned that it was going to be too big, because normally I would do like about a 72 stitch sock on these needles, and this is like an 84. But I think given that I like slightly looser socks, and that it is ribbed, so it's pretty snuggy, I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to finish this first repeat of the leg, so I've done the cuff, and I've done maybe 2/3 of the first repeat of the leg. It's 2 repeats. So I think that I'm gonna finish this repeat, I'm gonna put it on a longer needle, I'm gonna slip it on, I'm gonna, make sure that it hugs tight around my ankle and that it goes over my heel and everything. And if it does, then I'm gonna carry on with this, and if it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to rip it out and start again. I'm not super worried about it because in the qualifying round you have 2 weeks, you just have to finish it within 2 weeks. There's no like finish it within the first certain number of people on your team, it's just within 2 weeks. So I'm not super worried about taking extra time to rip it out if I need to. So yeah, having gotten further yesterday and looking at it again today, I'm pretty sure this is actually going to be the right size for me. So fingers crossed, we will see. But that is what I have been working on knitting-wise and what I'm about to go work on again. So I started doing this kind of vlog-style updates because I didn't want to like sit down and go through all of my monthly recap. But today I'm sitting down and going through all of my monthly recap because I worked on a number of projects in the latter half of March, and I just never bothered vlogging the transitions. So this is kind of going to be my recap before I start in working on things in April, just to show you what I am up to. First of all, last time we were speaking, I was working on this Smock Madness pattern. It was the qualifier for Sock Madness, and it's highly variable. Like, I can see the smocks perfectly in person, but sometimes on camera it's a little bit difficult to see the smocking on these socks. So the smocking is this, like, bit that pulls the ribbing in and stuff. Anyway, itchy nose. So I was knitting this Smock Madness qualifier for Sock Madness. I was knitting this out of my own yarn in the merino sock base in the Knit Skipper colorway, which incidentally I adore. I've been wanting to knit something out of it for ages, so I jumped on the opportunity to do that with this sock. It's perhaps not the best option for this sock. The smocks, I've noticed, tend to show up better in lighter colored socks, but I think it shows up well enough, and I really, really love the color. So I'm done with one sock, but I am not done with the other. And so for Smock Madness, Smock Madness is the pattern, Sock Madness is the competition. For the Sock Madness competition, in order to qualify, you had to finish the pair of socks. To qualify for a competitive team, you had to finish the pair of socks in 2 weeks, because it's a speed and accuracy sock knitting competition. And, you know, I got this sock done, and I was starting to work on this one, and I just wasn't really feeling it. And ultimately, it came down to the fact that I wasn't really interested in working on socks at that particular moment in time. When you see my other projects, they're all my big kind of looser gauge projects, and that was just what I wanted to work on. So I debated for a while, because I was like, I could finish this second sock in time to qualify, but if I wasn't in the mood for knitting socks, that would probably mean that I would be doing this like mad rush to finish the second sock to move on like every time. And I had already decided at the beginning of the year that I didn't want to do Sock Madness because I had so many things that I wanted to get done, and I didn't think that spending 2 or 3 months knitting socks constantly would work with my plans. So ultimately I decided to just submit this single sock. If you do half of the required work, so either a single sock, or if you're knitting them 2 at a time, 2 socks through the heels, you can qualify as a cheerleader in Sock Madness, which basically means you get all of the patterns. You get the patterns, you're encouraged to knit along, but you're not on a competitive team, and you're not required to knit the socks in order to move on. So I ended up going for cheerleader this year, and I'm kind of glad that I did, because the first competition sock that came out, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's lace socks, and each sock has different lace on it, and I'm like, I don't know how I would feel about wearing a pair of socks with 2 different lace, and I didn't really want to knit like another pair to have 2 pairs of... Anyway, it's fine. I'm happy with my decision to be a cheerleader. I was hoping to at least finish this pair of socks at the end of the month and have this pair done in a month, but obviously that did not happen. So I'm going to try to finish them sometime in the near future. I do like them. The one thing is I added some length to the foot, and even with that, it's a little bit short on me, but only if I put it on my right foot. If I put it on my left foot, it's just the perfect length. So my plan on the second sock is to knit it just a few rows longer, add on a few more rows beyond what I added on here. So that way this sock will go on my left foot and this sock will go on my right foot, and it'll be a little bit awkward because there's not going to be a way to tell them apart other than putting it on and being like, that feels a little short, I should probably switch. So anyway, that is this guy, and I realized as I was putting it on the sock blocker to show it to you, I never actually, like, it's finished, but I didn't weave in the ends, because you're not required to weave in the ends for Sock Madness, as long as you kind of, well, people usually kind of hide them, but you're not required to weave them in, so. Anyway, I do really enjoy the pattern. I like the way it looks. I enjoy knitting it. It's just, I didn't really want to knit tight gauge small projects right now. I just wanted to knit my bigger stuff. So that is that. Oh, and the designer for this is E.B. White Designs, Elizabeth White. She's really cool. She was in the forums helping out and answering questions. So, and I really, really like how she laid out that sock pattern. I am definitely going to be looking for her sock patterns in the future because it was super clear and super easy to understand, and she laid it out beautifully so that way you can print only exactly what you need for your size. Love it. So if nothing else from Sock Madness, I got a new designer that I like that I want to check out in the future. That's always a good thing. So, and I'm sure I'm going to get more because like I said they're going to they send out the patterns. When you're a cheerleader, you still get all the patterns for free. So what I really, really wanted to work on this month was my Casual Friday cardigan, which I think I simply don't have a picture of in my pattern. Yeah, I didn't print off the page that had the pictures on it. So you'll just have to trust me that it looks really cool. The designer is Diana Rosenstein. I always have issues with that S-H-T-E-Y-N at the end of her name, so I hope that I'm getting it somewhere near correct. I am knitting this out of Knit Picks Stroll in the Dove Heather colorway, so it's a fingering weight sweater, cardigan, Lake Sioux, and let's see, I didn't do a ton of work. This is where I was. I put this on right when I started knitting because I knew I wasn't vlogging the beginning and I wanted to remember where I was. So I added, what, an inch? Yeah, about an inch, maybe a little over an inch to it. Not a ton, although this is quite large at this point. And just initial trying it on, it seems to fit pretty well. It feels like the armholes maybe a little bit loose, but I'm not too upset about it because one, I kind of like loose armholes, and two, when I knit the swatch, my row gauge shrank, so I think that this may shrink up, and especially when I put in the sleeves. Okay, let me lower my camera just a touch. Hold on. Now you get to look at the lower half of my face and the upper half of my torso. Yay! Aren't you happy? This is really stretchy fabric all around here, and I think when I put in the sleeves, that may help hold this in shape and not. See, like right now it looks okay, but then it can also like stretch like this. So I think when I put in the sleeve, that'll help keep it from stretching as much. So I'm pretty happy with it. The original pattern is striped, and I'm not striping mine because I like this like kind of Dove Heather, well, it's the color of the Dove Heather color. Touch lower. And another thing I like about this sweater is it's got these stockinette panels and it's got these seed stitch panels, which one is more interesting when you're knitting it, although I admit that it is not quite as mindless as it could be. But also I think it's going to do interesting things with like how it looks on your body. So I'm enjoying that. This is going to, there's going to be another little panel here, so it'll be a V-neck, probably roughly approximating the line of this shirt. So I'm really enjoying that. Like I said, I only got about an inch done on it. Let me go up. Like I said, I only got about an inch on it, but it's an inch more than I had before, and I really enjoyed knitting it, so I am looking forward to continuing on with this guy. This is the first sweater that I'm knitting for myself. I've knit some like baby sweaters, but it's the first like that I'm trying to fit to myself and everything, and it's going quite well, I think. I like the designer, I like the pattern. I did see one person in the like who would knit it saying they weren't sure they would recommend it like as a first time sweater because there's some places where you can like make decisions about where you want to shape things, and I haven't really run into any of that so far. I'm liking it. It's a little bit, there were parts where I was reading it and going, what is going on? But then as soon as I had the sweater in my hands and I was knitting it, I was like, oh, that's what's going on. So far it's been a really good experience as a first-time sweater knitter, that Casual Friday pattern. So then, there's just one more thing that I worked on this month, and that is the Hue Shift Afghan. It's a pattern, oh, I don't remember who the pattern's by. I know you can buy it on Knit Picks. I'm sure I'll have everything linked down below, so I'll tell you who the pattern is by down below. And I am knitting it out of Knit Picks Brava Sport. It's a sport weight acrylic yarn, 10 different colors, and it's called Hue Shift. The colors shift in hue. It's really cute. But I was working on that, and let me see. I think when last you saw it, I had both of these squares done. And so I got most of this square done. I was knitting this while we were playing Pathfinder. It's a pen and paper role-playing game. If you're at all familiar with it, we're playing the Skull and Shackles adventure path. Very cool. Love it. Playing pirates. So I was working on this while we were playing, and I got most of the way through it, which is pretty good. This last little bit will take almost no time because you're decreasing down. So anyway, so I am working with, let me just confirm, I'm currently working with the peacock color, and I believe it's silver. Yes, it's silver. Peacock and silver. And I'm really liking this. If you recall, I had finished the first quarter of the blanket. Can't lean back far enough. But as you can see, it's all the blacks and the whites and the grays. And so in this quarter, I'm getting the blues in, which is super exciting. These are my 10 colors. So I've got black, cobblestone heather, silver, dove heather, and white. And then I've got, okay, I haven't worked with the blues as much. And then I've got solstice heather, peacock, marina, cornflower, and sky. I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed by marina. I thought based on the pictures it was going to be a lot bluer than that. So it's actually, I was going for like a black and blue, but it's more of like a black and teal. I don't object to black and teal. It's just not what I was expecting when I ordered the yarn. I think that green just tends to photograph more blue, so not a big deal. But again, it's another, oh, that's the back. It's another big, loose gauge, kind of mindless project, and that's just what I've been in the mood for, so that's what I did. And yeah, that is what I have been up to this month. I am not sure what I'm going to be doing next month. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing Sock Madness as much, but I'm hoping to maybe finish off that pair of socks that I had and then make some more progress on my bigger projects. And yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or anything in the comments down below. Of course, you'd have comments in the comments section. That's kind of weird. Anyway, if you want more information on any of the projects I worked on, links to like the pattern or the yarn or anything, I'll have that all in the description box below so you can check that out. Let's see, next week I'm going to be having a similar style video with my cross-stitching update. So if you're interested in that, I'll see you there. Otherwise, I will see you in a future video. So talk to you later. Bye.